Can you expand more on your offensive philosophy and the transitional period with the personnel you have from going into what they're used to now what you're going to be implementing?
The key thing on offense and defense, regardless, is to make sure, excuse me, that you use the young men in your program to be as good as you can be. And you can't sit back and say, hey, we're going to be this or we're going to be that. We want to be a wide open offense, and we want to play at pace, like I talked about earlier, when needed. We also want to put ourselves in a position to be able to use the best 11, 15, 20 kids on our team, whoever they may be. So, for instance, if you got 4 or 5 wideouts that are your best wide receivers, and let's get them on the field a lot of the time. If we have some tight ends or very talented young men, let's make sure we use them. Maybe they can be used in space. Maybe they're used on the end line of scrimmage. What do our running backs do? They run well, they catch the ball well, they run the zone play well. What do our offensive linemen do? Are we a powers team? Are we a zone team? Are we a stretch team? How do we pass block? All those things. And the same thing is on defense. A lot of times people discuss or want to talk about, we're going to be a lot of talk about, are you an odd front defense, are you an even front defense? Well, we're both, and it will depend on what we have within our kids in this program. But in the end, when it's all said and done, I want to be an offense, again, that stresses defensive. I wanted to stress defensive coordinators, and make sure that, again, we stretch the field vertically, we stretch it horizontally in the throw game and in the pass game. And on defense, we want to be very aggressive. We want to put ourselves in a position to keep those offenses off pace and not allow a quarterback to feel comfortable. If you look back to our time at Utah State, very similar town. You can say it's a negative because you had a drive here on a recruiting trip, or you can say it's a positive. And let's look at the city that we live in and the opportunity that the kids get to live in this environment, a safe environment in an unbelievable college atmosphere. And there's not many places like this from what I see in a very short period of time. It just brings me back to my days at Utah State. And I always felt, and I feel it the same here, is whether you fly into Portland or you fly into that other town. See, I'm no dummy. I can learn quick. You can use that as an advantage because you're kind of getting yourself into a secluded area where the student athletes, the students themselves, get themselves in a position of college where we're going to college and we get the true college experience. We get to be around the students. That's what the life is, and it's a small town where community is important. It's a small town where the young men and young women that are all in the university get an opportunity to get a chance to have special time together, where if you're in a big city going to school, you don't get that. It's not a commuter school. You don't wake up and drive to school and at 5 o'clock the doors close and the campus is, no one's around you. I'm sure it's pretty fun times to be around and be a college student here. So I look at those things as big time positives in an environment like this, and I've been around it, and I like my kids to go to school in places like this.